Hello everyone. In this video, I would like to continue with the additional practice for Unit 1. In previous video, as you recall, that we have worked on additional practice for Unit 1 and we completed question 1 to question number 8. And in this video, I would like to continue with the rest of the exercise, and we will start on page 27 of the workbook. Okay, so solving for x as a simple linear equation, and what we have to do is we should provide the step to check if the left hand side equal to the right hand side at the end, and I provide a box here so that we can perform the steps inside this box. Okay, so in solving for x in a simple linear equation, so linear equation is when you have x raised to exponent 1, and this is only one solution for x in this case. So what you need to take a look at is isolating x. That means you want to have just one x on either the left hand side of the equation or the right hand side of the equation. Okay, so it doesn't matter where the x is, as long as it's actually on one side of the equation and it just has the coefficient 1 in front of it. That means you isolate the x and you solve for x. So in most cases, we leave the x on the left hand side, but there's nothing wrong if you actually put the x on the other side. Okay, so let's start with question number 9. I have negative 9 times x equal to 72. So you have negative 9 times x and multiply by x. So you want to get rid of the negative 9. So multiply by 9 to get rid of negative 9. The only thing you can do is you divide by negative 9 so that you can have a 1x. But because it is an equation, whatever you do on this side, you must perform the exact same step on the other side. So let's write it down. Okay, so I will put negative 9x. I divide it by negative 9. I do the same thing on the other side of the equation. So now I can see that I can cancel out that negative 9. And in the end, I will have x equal to 72 divided by negative 9 will give me negative 8. Okay, so this is a very, very simple linear equation. You don't even have to perform this step. You can also figure out right away that x is equal to negative 8. But it's a good idea to know that all the steps behind the concept of solving for a simple linear equations. Okay, so let's perform the step to check if we have the correct solution or not. So in doing this, I will list my left hand side. So left hand side is negative 9 times x. So I got x as negative 8, so I put negative 9 times negative 8. It should give me positive 72. Then you list your right hand side. Right hand side is in fact equal to 72 as well. So in this case, you have the left hand side equal to right hand side. Therefore, your solution is correct. Alright, so move on to number 10. I have x divided by negative 5. Okay, so divided by. To get rid of the negative 5 as divided by, I need to multiply by negative 5. So I rewrite it as such. I multiply by negative 5. So I do the same thing on the other side. Okay, now you see that this will cancel with that. I just have x left on this side, and the right hand side will be equal to negative 35. And if I perform the check step right here, I have left hand side is x divided by negative 5. It means negative 35 divided by negative 5, and is equal to 7. And the right hand side is also equal to 7. Okay, so therefore this left hand side is equal to right hand side. Okay, so let's continue on. And you see it's getting harder, or it's getting a bit complicated, a bit more complicated when we moving on to to the next questions. Okay, so in number 11, I have negative 2x subtract 5 equal to 21. So what you need to take a look at this is, if you are going to perform the expression negative 2 times the x subtract the 5, according to BEDMAS, you will have to multiply negative 2 with x first. And after you have the result, the product of these two numbers, you can take 5 away from it. Okay? But in order for you to solve for x and isolate the x, the first operation you have to get rid of is the subtract the 5. So if you subtract the 5, it means you want to add 5. So you don't have 5 on this side anymore. Okay, so in other words, I want to remind everyone that you cannot divide it by negative 2 right away in this case. Okay, so you have to get rid of the subtract the 5 first. So I will put negative 2x, I leave that alone. So I subtract 5, I add the 5 on this side. So I do the same thing on the other side, I also add the 5. So for this 2, that will cancel out. Okay, so I will have negative 2x equal to 26. Okay, so if we do this step by step, you can see that you simplify your equation to make it even simpler for you to isolate the x. So now we know what to do in this case. We will divide both sides by negative 2. Okay, divide both sides by negative 2. I don't have that negative 2 anymore. And I just have a single x left on the left hand side. And the other side should be equal to negative 13. So let's do the check. So doing the checks, please do not skip any step. So left hand side is equal to negative 2x minus 5. Now x is equal to negative 13. So you substitute negative 13 into this expression. And I should have positive 26. Subtract 5. I should have positive 21. And in the meantime, I write down right hand side is equal to 21. So I have left side equal to the right hand side in this case. So my solution, x is equal to negative 13, is correct. Okay, so as you see, the same thing up here. We have done all the steps. Okay, so let's continue on with our number 12. Okay, for number 12, what I would like everyone to remember is this. Okay, so you have negative 15 times x equal to 25x subtract 120. So your goal is this. You want to isolate the x, and you want to have the coefficient 1 in front of x. So where do you want x to stay? On the right hand side or on the left hand side? So I would recommend that everyone will try to somehow have the x on the left hand side of the equation. Okay, so that means what you do in this case is, I got 25x, right? I subtract 25x. So here I have negative 15x. I also have to do the same thing on this left hand side. So I will subtract 25x. So now you see that that and that cancel out. On the right hand side, you just have negative 120 left. And then in this case, you should have negative 40x. Okay, so you know what the next step should be. Divide both sides by negative 40. So this I have. Negative 40 on the other side as well. So in this case now, just 1x will be equal to a positive 3. Okay, so now, I would like everyone to pay very close attention to the way that you present the step for your check. So you have left hand side, okay, write exactly what the left hand side is equal to. It's equal to negative 15x. So it means you got x equal to 3. So it means that you got negative 15. You multiply by 3 in this case. So just perform this order of operation. So negative 15 times 3 will give me negative 45. And leave that for now. So now you write right hand side. Write down the exact of what on the right hand side. 25x subtract 120. And because x is equal to 3, you take 25, you multiply by 3. And now you perform the order of operations. You should have 125. 25 times 3 should be 75. Okay, subtract 120. It should give you negative 45 as the result. Okay, so now you check left hand side equal to negative 45, right hand side equal to negative 45. So they are both equal to each other. Therefore, your solution x equal to 3 is correct. Okay, so let's continue on with number 13. We have quite a few questions to finish here. We have 3 more. So you see it's getting a little bit more complicated. Okay, so for number 13, if you recall the step that you should simplify both sides of the equation, right? We simplify both sides of the equation. Simplification means that if you can collect the like term, then go ahead and do it. Whatever operation that you can perform on one side of the equation, then go ahead and do it. Do the same thing on the other side. That means you simplify your equation as much as you can before you are thinking of isolating the x. Okay, so in this case, on the left hand side, I see that I have negative 72 and I have plus 26. These two numbers, I can easily add them, so it will turn into negative 46. Then I write negative 14x alone. I cannot do anything with that right now. And I take a look at the other side of the equation. I see that I can collect this two terms because they are like terms. So negative 23x plus 4x will give me negative 19x plus 79. Okay, so now you see, you simplify your equation to this particular expression or this particular equation. And you cannot simplify anymore on the left-hand side. You also cannot simplify anymore on the right-hand side. Okay, so now you decide, okay, do you want x to stay on the right-hand side or the left-hand side? So it's entirely up to you. But I would think that you want to bring the all the x over to the left-hand side. So doing that, I would like everyone to start off with, okay, once your mind decided that, you are going to add 19 to this, 19x to this left-hand side. Okay, so that means you do the same here. So you add 19x on this side. Alright, so it means that your next step is to remind yourself that you do that, you perform that step so that you can get rid of the x. Alright, okay. So then what you can do next is you can combine these two. You should have positive 5x in this case. Okay, so now your next step is the number negative 46. Right here, this number right here, you don't want it to stay on this side of the equation. So what you do is you are going to add 46 to that. So what I will do is I will do negative 46 and I add that with 46. So that means I need to do the same thing on the left-hand side of the right-hand side of the equation. I'm sorry. Okay, so I should write positive 79 there, and I add 46, so I put add 46. At the same time, I make sure that I remind myself that I did that step so that I don't have any more number without the x on the left-hand side of the equation. So now you have 5x equal to 79 plus 46. It should give you 125, right? Okay, so now you bring it to a very simple linear equation to solve for. So now you know exactly what to do. You divide both sides by 5. and then the solution should be 25. Okay, and so let's perform the check step. Excuse me. Again, I would like to remind everyone that if you see a pause, that I just want to get some tea. Okay, I just want to drink some tea. All right. So let's write down the left-hand side as I remind everyone in previous example or previous questions. We are writing down the exact expression on the left-hand side. So in this case, I will have 72 as a minus and subtract 14x plus 26. Okay, so performing the check is like that. You are going to make sure that you write down everything on the left hand side and everything on the right hand side, because you don't want to start with your modifying steps. Okay, so that means you don't want to start with the next step that I'm trying to show everyone here. You don't want to start off with just writing negative 46 subtract 14x is in fact equal to your left hand side. The reason you don't want to do that, because what happens is you make an error in between here. Okay, so it's easy to make an error, and then one error resulting into the next error, and you cannot check the solution. Okay, so then now I'm going to substitute into the value of x here as 25. So now you know that you have to perform order of operations. So that means this operation has to be performed first. So 14 times 25 will give me 350. So now you can just do all of this from left to right. Using your calculator, punch all of this number in. I should have negative 396. Okay, so you leave this for now. And what you need to do next is you are going to copy down the exact expression on the right hand side. So on the right hand side, I should have negative 23x plus 79, and then I add that with the 4 times x. Okay, so where the x is, I will substitute in the value as 25. So that here, so this is 4 times x. Okay, so negative 23 times 25 plus 79 plus 4 times 25. Okay, so follow the order of operation, perform this operation, then perform this operation. So I should have negative 575. I add that with 79, and I add that with 100. So perform this operation in order of occurrences or from left to right. I should have the answer as negative 396 as well. So now you see that left hand side equal to right hand side, and then you can conclude that x is equal to 25 as the correct solution for this question. Excuse me. So let's continue on with number 14. Alright, so for number 14, excuse me, I just get myself a little bit more tea. For number 14, again, going back to the very basic step 1 of solving for simple linear equations, but it probably doesn't look that simple. So you have to simplify it step by step. So what I will do right away is I will apply the distributive rule. Okay, apply the distributive rule to both sides of this equation. Okay, so distributive rule, that means I multiply the coefficient in front of this binomial into each term inside the binomial. So negative 15 times 2x should give me negative 30x. Then I have negative 15 times negative 3 should give me positive 45. And I add that with 20, just do one step at a time. Then I have negative 46. Okay, negative 11 times 2x should be negative 22x. And be careful here. Okay, be careful because you have a negative and you multiply with a negative 5. So your answer should be positive 25. Okay, so pay attention to this, everyone, because this is a common mistake. It's so easy, or sometimes it's just so easy to forget that it's a negative here. Negative 11 multiplied with a negative 5. Okay, so now you can simplify both sides of the equation to see what operations that you can perform. So I know that on the left-hand side, I can add 45 with 20. And on the right-hand side, I can add these two numbers as well. Okay, so let's do that. I will have 30x plus 65. Here I should have 9, right? Negative 46 plus 55 will be positive 9, and subtract 22x. Okay, so again, what you would like to remember is this. Now you want to have x on your left-hand side, right? So to have x on the left-hand side, that means you are going to add 22x to this. Okay, add 22x to this. Okay, right, so I know that I do step by step here, but many students would like to skip a step, which is fine. Okay, so now you see that cancel out. So on this side of the equation, if I perform this operation, I should have equal to negative 8x, and I still have the plus 65, so I want to subtract 65. Okay, the same thing on the other side. I supposed to subtract the 65. I remind myself that and that is gone. So I will have negative 8x here. On the right hand side, I should have negative 56. So now you have a very simple linear equation to solve. And you know what to do. You divide both sides by negative 8. Okay, and in this case, that cancel that. X will be equal to 7. Alright, okay. So now we are going to perform the step in checking the solution. Okay. Again, going back to that, I would like everyone to pay attention to the original statement of this equation. So this is the original statement. It means that we have to write the left-hand side equal to the exact expression of the left-hand side. Right-hand side is also equal to this original expression, because you don't want to pick any of the steps that you simplify here and use them as your substitution for x and then check. Okay, because you want to make sure that you got the correct solution. Alright, so I will have a left-hand side, so I write the exact expression for that is negative 15, and I multiply that with 2x subtract 3 plus 20. So where the x is, I will substitute that with the 7. Okay, now I perform the order operation. So inside I should have 14 subtract 3 plus 20. Okay, so brackets first. So now you are going to perform this step. Okay, so you should have 11. Your next step is to multiply first. So you have negative 165 plus 20. So that will be equal to negative 145 as the result. Okay, so leave it there for now. And then go to the right hand side. Okay, so from the right hand side, the exact original equation is negative 46 minus 11 times 2x minus 5. Okay, so what you do is negative 46, subtract 11. Where the x is, I will put in 7. Okay, so negative 46, subtract 11. Inside the bracket, I should have 14 minus 5. 14 is coming from 2 times 7, multiplication first. Okay. So here I should have the number equal to 9. Okay, so the number equal to 9. And then negative 46, and I should have negative 11 times, it should be negative 99, and my answer is negative 145. So you see now, you have the left hand side equal to the right hand side. So your solution, x7, is correct. Okay. So I only have 4 minutes left. So I don't know if I can complete this question in 4 minutes, but I think I can. So I will try. But if I get stopped at the end, I will continue with the rest of them in the a short video after that. Okay. So but I will go over it very quickly. Okay. Again, on the left hand side, I cannot simplify anymore, but on the right hand side, I can perform this step. So I should have 4x minus 8, subtract 2x plus 10. Then I can combine these two. I will have 2x, and this I can combine. I should have plus 2. Okay, my next step is to take 2x over to the side, so it means that I will have 2x subtract 2x. Okay, so I will subtract 2x here, and this cancel out. Okay, now I have the 12 on this side, I plus the 12, and here's still the plus 2, I plus the 12. So you see, I skip a step, right? But it should be alright at this point, because everyone should be an expert now, I kind of assume. Okay, so now this divided by negative 7, it should be, the answer should be x equal to negative 2. Okay, so you after practice, lots and lots of practice, I hope everyone can be that fast. Okay, so I can write the left hand side and the right hand side, and I am going to check this. So negative 5x subtract 12, again negative 5 times negative 2, this should give me positive 10 minus 12, so left hand side is equal to negative 2, so leave it there for now. Okay, the right hand side is a bit more complicated, but it shouldn't be after we did quite a bit of practice already. Okay, so we are going to multiply this in, multiply that in, multiply that in, multiply that in. But before that, what do? We should substitute x in. Okay, so now I realize that if I rush, so one thing about mathematics is you cannot rush mathematics. So that's what I would try to say to everyone. Don't rush mathematics. Okay, so you don't need to multiply inside the bracket. You substitute and then you perform the order of operation. So in this case, I should have that is negative 16. That and that should be positive 14. And you see, it's also equal to negative 2. So I should have left hand side equal to right hand side, and x equal to negative 2 is correct. Okay, thank you everyone. I'm right on. Alright.